Hello, welcome to our weekly video. This week's beer is from Weird Beard. It's called Sign of the Southern Cross. It's a black IPA and it's on the roastier side of the style. It's absolutely bang full of really fresh hop aroma, but it's also got that pithy West Coast style IPA type hop flavour as well. It's a really crushable beer. I've chosen this particular beer for a couple of reasons. Firstly, here at Malt Miller, we love Weird Beard. Their beers always really stand out for us. Secondly, we have supplied them with various pieces of ingredients and bits of equipment ever since we started. In fact, ever since both companies first started. And thirdly, it's a black IPA, and I thought today I would touch on what goes on in the mash, and as a brewer, how you can make adjustments to influence the final result. Armed with just a little knowledge, you can tailor the beer to your individual taste. Now, this is important as we are increasingly seeing brewers buying recipe kits, and this is a really good way to make a proven beer, but we are also seeing some feedback where brewers are suggesting that maybe the final result, although it was a good beer, maybe not to their personal taste. You may think that as you've purchased a recipe kit that there's not so much that you're able to do to adapt the beer to your palate. This really is not the case. Understanding what is going on in the mash will give you the tools that are required to adapt a recipe. In the mash, the objective is to turn the complex sugar within the grist into simple sugar, which is then consumed by the yeast, turning it into alcohol, CO2 and some other byproducts. Now, that's just about the most simplistic way of looking at it. Without going into the science behind it, however, do check out our blog. The temperature of your mash will make a difference to what type of sugar, or indeed how fermentable this sugar is by your chosen yeast. Now let's have a look at the black IPA style, and in particular the Shadow of the Beast recipe kit that we have available to purchase on the Malt Miller website. Once purchased, you're able to follow the instructions, and if carried out correctly, you will get a beer bang on the style. It's medium bodied without the roast malt astringency that you would associate with a dark beer. It has a dry finish, making it really drinkable. However, your personal taste may differ. Maybe you prefer a thicker body. Now in this case, it would be a good idea to adjust your mash temperature. This recipe suggests a mash temperature of 65°C. Now, a higher mash temperature means that simple sugars converted from the grist are actually harder for the yeast to ferment. Or another way to look at it, by mashing at a higher temperature, say 68°C, you're making the wort less fermentable. It will leave the finishing gravity of the beer higher, and this has the effect of increasing body. It'll have a thicker mouthfeel. Conversely, if you prefer a lighter in texture, thinner beer, then decrease the mash temperature. Look at, say, 63°C. This will make the wort more fermentable with a lower finishing gravity. It will have a stronger alcohol content, but it will be less chewy. The enzymes in the mash will convert as long as you are somewhere between 63 to 69 degrees centigrade. Changing the mash temperature is a great tool to be aware of. Do note that conversion takes a little longer if you're mashing low, so maybe look at a 90-minute mash. Another trick with black IPA is just how roasty you like it. Now for Shadow of the Beast, following the instructions, we'll see dark malts only used at the very end of the mash. These are sprinkled on top of the mash just when sparging. Now this produces colour but very little roasty flavour. However, you as the brewer might like more roast character, so perhaps include it with the grist from the start. It will be a different beer, but the important thing is that it's your beer. You're learning how to brew to meet your own individual taste. This is the important thing to take away from this video. Buying an all-grain recipe kit is just a starting point. Arm yourself with just a little more information and you'll be making beer that matches your individual palate. Cheers, see you next week.